yo, Literal aka Mega Blitz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a Halloween themed type deck with Gengar EX and the Dusknoir package. Now, I think it's kind of crazy. I feel like just about every Pokemon TCG YouTuber has made a Gengar EX video at some point, and I just never did. So, we'll just do one now. Let's get into the deck list. Already here at that deck list, starting us off with Gengar EX with the ability Gnawing Curse. Whenever your opponent attaches an energy card from their hand to their Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So it doesn't even matter if the energy gets attached by Teal Dance to be able to attach a grass energy to your Ogre opponent and draw a card or whatever. As long as it comes from the hand, it's going to get 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Then Gengar's attack for 2 Dark Energy, Tricky Steps for 160 damage. You may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their benched Pokemon. So we kind of have some control elements as well in this deck, which we all know how much I love that. So being able to hit the active for 160 plus applying pressure with 2 damage counters every time they attach an energy is pretty solid. We're also playing, like I said, the Dusknoir package. So we got 1 copy of Dusclops with that Curse Blast, put 5 damage counters on something, and then Dusknoir with that Curse Blast, putting 13 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So really being able to kind of use those counters from the Gnawing Curse ability and the Curse Blast from the Dusclops and Dusknoirs to really just be able to push forward more and being able to apply more pressure that way. Also got 2 copies of Munkidori because the card is absolutely broken and it fits in the deck pretty well, with the Adrenaline Brain being able to move 3 damage counters from our Pokemon to their Pokemon. Also got 2 copies of Budew for the Itchy Pollen for that item lock to be able to kind of allow us to have something going on and kind of slow the game down until we can set up our Dusclops and Dusknoirs and our Gengars and such. We also got 1 Bloodmoon Ursaluna Ex for the end game, 1 Squawkabilly for the Squawk and Seas to set up early, Tatsugiri for the attract customers once during your turns, but once in the active spot. Look at the top 6. You can find a supporter there. You can put it into your hand. For the supporter count, we have 4 Arven, 2 Boss, 2 Iono, 2 Research, and 1 Turo's Scenario. Then for the items here, we got 3 Buddy Buddy Poffin, 2 Counter Catcher, 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Nest Ball, 2 Rare Candy, 2 Earthen Vessel, 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Energy Retrieval, 1 Switch, Tools, 2 Air Balloon, Technical Machine Evolution. You got 2 copies of those. That's going to be really important in this deck. Actually, we really want to use Technical Machine Evolution as quickly as possible, but either that or we're going to Itchy Pollen. It's either Itchy Pollen or Evolution, depending on kind of what our prize situation looks like. If we prize our 1 copy of Haunter, then it's not really all that worth it. We should try to Rare Candy our way into it instead. 8 copies of Dark Energy, and for the ace spec of choice, we're going to have that Neo Upper Energy. It fits really well with Gengar. You could play something like Secret Box. I think that actually works out pretty well in this deck, but Neo Upper Energy is also pretty solid because as long as it's with stage 2 Pokemon, this card can provide every type of energy, but only 2 energy at a time. So interesting thing you can actually do with this deck is you can actually put it on Dusknoir and then attach a Dark Energy to Dusknoir as well, and then make it so your opponent's defending Pokemon can't retreat. I've actually have done that while playing this deck before, and just kind of like slowly like lock them for a turn and make it so they can't retreat, which is actually pretty fun. So that's something cool you can do with this deck while playing Near Up Energy, and I like that a lot. Let's get into the gameplay. Already here at that gameplay here at the coin flip. It doesn't really matter if we go first or second. If we go first, we're going to want to try to kind of set up for a future Evo play the following turn, get some basics out pretty quickly. If we go second, we have the option for Budew if we Itchy Pollen, if our hand's not great enough for that, or not great enough to be able to use Technical Evolution. So we'll just have to see. Looks like here we're going to have a Gastly, a Duskull on the bench, and starting off with that Budew in the active spot, actually. Our opponent going to have Team Rocket's Torrentula. So our opponent here looks like they're playing Team Rocket's, probably either, you know, the Mewtwo package or whatever, probably just the entire Team Rocket's deck. Team Rocket's Transceiver to find the Proton to be able to get 3 basics out. So we're just going to throw down all these Torrentulas. And I feel like that's what you should do in this matchup. You see a Gastly, you know what? Let's just go for the single prize Pokemon. Let's just get the Spite Ops out. We'll try to just punch for weakness or whatever and just kind of go from there. Draw a bunch of cards and pop off. So we got Earthen Vessel, attached for turn. Team Rocket's Foundry, draw 2 cards. Their first turn was kind of nuts. So let's see if we can try to mimic that. We're going to attach Dark Energy to our Gastly. We're going to go Arven here. We're going to go Buddy Buddy Poffin, grab Evo. And that's probably just what we're going to do for this turn here. Buddy Buddy Poffin, going to grab myself the Gastly, it's looking like, and a Duskull here. So I'll put them on the bench. Just taking a peek and see if we're missing anything, which we are missing the Haunter, actually. So the evolution play does not really work all that well, so we're just going to go right into the Itchy Pollen here instead. Now, what you could do in this deck to kind of make that a little better, you could cut one of the Dark Energies, go to 7, and then, you know, go into a second Haunter. I feel like that's actually probably better. However, like I said, you can kind of also just find your way into, like, Rare Candy Gengar, usually pretty easily. However, like I said, not having that Haunter is a bit rough sometimes. So Team Rocket's played up, Team Rocket's Factory, gonna be able to draw some cards. Giovanni, switch my Duskull up. Rocket Rush for 120 damage. Gonna take the knockout there, getting a prize card. Gonna put us at a 5-6 split. We're gonna throw the Budew back up. It's got free retreat. We can just keep going with the Itchy Pollen if we need to. We're gonna go Nest Ball here. Now, I know what you guys may be thinking. Why aren't you playing Fez in the deck? And the reason I'm actually not playing Fez is because the times I was playing this deck, most of the time it just felt like that it was just like the way for them to take a too easy prize at the end of the game, right? Which you could argue Squawk is also that. However, a lot of the times it's going to be harder for them, I feel like, to take a knockout on something as opposed to kind of, you know, finding the extra pieces to be able to do anything with afterwards. So we're just going to evolution here. Unfortunately, I forget that I can't go into a Haunter because I prized it. So I should have went into a second Dusclops, but we only had one, so it's whatever. Going to the Dusclops here. Had the Tatsugiri up in the active. Team Rocket's Giovanni here. Spite Out's going to pull up the Dusclops. They don't want us to have that Dusknoir, which makes a lot of sense. Dusknoir can easily just knock out their Spite Outs because it has 130 HP. So it's just a pretty much free prize for us. Sure, we give up a prize card to them, but not too big of a deal. So we'll have to see. Anyway, we're going to throw probably back up. We're thinking Budew probably makes the most sense, but Tatsugiri also has an energy on it, and we can just attract customers again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to throw up Tatsugiri, attract customers, try to just find ourselves an Arven so we can rare candy into this Gengar, which we aren't going to be able to do, unfortunately, here. Looks like we're going to toss down a Munkidori. We're going to go Boss's Orders, pull up the damaged Torrentula, retreat into my Budew, and then attach the Dark Energy here. We could go to the Munkidori or to the Gastly, but I just choose on not attaching this turn, as I, you know, if I attach the Neo Up Energy and they pull up whatever I attach it to, then I just lose my A-Spec. If I attach the Dark Energy to either the Gastly or the Munkidori, they're probably just going to pull that up and KO it. So I'd rather just not attach an energy for turn, so I can kind of remain mysterious, if it were. Team Rocket's Petrol here. Team Rocket's Factory. Just going to draw some extra cards. Got the Wobbuffet in play. Got the Sneasel in play as well, unfortunately. Got the Bravery Charm on the Torrentula. We're going to take down for 30 damage, unfortunately. Taking out our Budew, which is not great for us, actually. So it's a 3-6 split, so we're pretty far behind at this point. But this Gengar deck is pretty good at being able to kind of crawl back at this point. So attract customers here. We're going to find Iono, but I have Arven. So Arven into my Rare Candy, into Air Balloon. So now I can Rare Candy into my Gengar, attach Air Balloon to the Tatsugiri because it has energy on it, Rare Candy into that Gengar, attach Neo Repro Energy to it. Then we're going to be able to retreat for free out of that into the Gengar here, and we're going to Tricky Steps for 160 damage. Going to be able to move an energy here as well. And I'm like, I could just toss it on the Spite Ops, which will probably be fine. Which is actually what I end up doing. Now, I also could have put it on the Team Rocket Sneasel as well, as the Team Rocket Sneasel only needs Dark Energy to attack with it. So Grass Energy does nothing for it. So kind of have to see here. Ideally, we would also love to be able to find ourselves maybe a Dusknoir here, so we can go Dusknoir, KO the Spite Ops, take another knockout on Torrentula, and kind of go from there and try to leave them with like no attackers really, as Sneasel and Wobbuffet are pretty good in certain situations. I feel like it's not enough to take the knockout on the Gengar, however. We're also kind of hoping that they take a knockout or start at least damaging our Gengar so we can start Adrenaline Branding, moving some damage counters and stuff. But they're going to Team Rocket's Giovanni, getting rid of our Duskull. Again, they really don't want us to have that Dusknoir. No Dusknoir for us, unfortunately, here. But, like I said, I'm going to put them on we're going to two prizes here. They only got Team Rocket's Spite Ops as kind of the only attackers they have really set up at the moment. And Gengar is weak to fighting, which is kind of interesting. Most Dark Pokemon tend to be either weak to... They mostly be weak to grass most of the time, but there's a handful that are weak to fighting. So, toss up our Tatsugiri here. We're going to get another rare candy. So if we could find our way into another Gengar, that could be pretty solid here. I'm going to Iono our opponent here, trying to stick him with a pretty rough hand, going to just the 2 cards here. So we're going to discard the Squawkabilly and the Darkness Energy here. Going to grab ourselves another Gengar. Attract customers here, trying to find an Arvin, but we find Boss, which isn't too bad. We're going to retreat out of the Tatsugiri into our Gengar. Tricky Steps for 160. Move and energy here. We're going to put it right on to that Sneasel. Now, we just got to really hope that we stuck our opponent with a pretty bad hand. With that Iono, we're going to have to kind of see kind of what's going on. Now, I know what some of you guys might be thinking, why don't you just play with Mega Gengar? Well, the card is super bugged, like, still, at the time of recording this video, so, not really in a position where I could play that card, so we just kind of went with Gengar, because I was going to make a Mega Gengar video, but I was like, I want to make Gengar something, so, we decided on Gengar EX. Earthen Vessel, pitch the Buddy Poffin, and get that Munkidori set up and ready to go. We're going to grab ourselves, it looks like probably a Duskull. We actually go for the Dark Energy instead here. But now I'm like, okay, 160, we got to move some damage counters. So we're going to move 3 over to the Mimikyu. So now next turn I'll be able to take another knockout on that Mimikyu actually. So 160 damage here. Tricky Steps, going to be able to move an energy, put it on the Sneasel. Going to take a prize card here, putting us at a 3-2 split. We do find our Haunter actually off our prizes, which is literally huge. Team Rocket Spite Ops for our opponent here. Charging up, going to be able to get an energy in play and free retreat out of the Mimikyu. Unfortunately, they're literally having the craziest top decks right now. This is insane. They're literally top decking everything they need to just keep applying pressure to me. So I need to take a knockout on this Team Rocket Spite Ops here, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to Adrenabrain, move 3 damage counters, put them on the Mimikyu here, taking a prize, going to 2 prizes, then we're going to be able to find a Gengar EX out the prize cards, and I'm like, you know what? We could Iono here, but it's not even worth it because they have no cards in hand, and I have okay cards in my hand, right? We're going to attach the Dark Energy Tatsugiri, because if they have like Ruffing or something, or Discard, or Tool Scrapper, then I need to be able to retreat out of this. So, take a knockout, going to 1 prize card, putting energy on the Sneasel, and we have game on board. However, it really just comes down to what my opponent top decks, right? The top decks would already been insane in this game, and they find Iono just to just stay alive in the game. Why not, right? So draw 2 more cards, get us to 1 card in hand, unfortunately, and they concede, so they didn't get anything that was helpful for them off those 2 cards. Being able to crawl back from that game was absolutely insane. We were kind of way down behind for quite some time. We couldn't even get Dusknoirs or anything set up, so it truly came down to just moving the energies, keep applying the pressure with the Gengar EX, and then towards the end of the game, that Munkidori was very helpful as well, being able to take a knockout on that Mimikyu. Let's get into the outro. All we're just going to draw for today's video. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being so understanding that I just kind of had to slow down my uploads for a while. My life's been a little crazy and a little hectic, just kind of have a lot of just various different things going on. So unfortunately, YouTube kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. So I finally found some time to hopefully sit down and make this Halloween video roughly around the time Halloween would be happening. We'll have to see how fast I can edit it, obviously. But nonetheless, I want to thank everybody for your guys' continued support. We're getting real close to 1K subs. I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do for a 1K subscriber special. I'm not too sure yet. We're at like 964, I think, at the time of me recording this. So 36 away. Getting pretty close. But if you guys enjoy the content, I've been making sure for the channel. Definitely make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I want to give a huge shout out to my channel members that you guys see here. Thank you so much for your guys' extra continued support. I really do appreciate it. I'll make sure to put also the decklist that I played in the description below, ready for copy paste into TCG Live. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!